let's hop in. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into your wonderful work, I want to know this. I always begin this question to kind of set the tone. 6 years ago, the pandemic changed everything for all of us. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you live and work in 2026?
Oh, wow. So, right before the pandemic, I was actually on an upswing of gaining coaching clients, and I had a wonderful opportunity to be in Nairobi, Kenya in February of 2020 before the whole world shut down.
Oh,
And so it still mated everything I was doing for about 2 years. And after that, it was a matter of this just that human connection and trying to get back out and make those human connections. So, for instance, I run a women's conference and just trying to get that back up and running and get people out again. So, it was interesting to see how anxious people were to gather, but also very leery.
yes.
So just learning to pivot and to move and to be ready for anything at this point, because obviously 2020 taught us a lot about the unexpected.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. So let's get into your coaching and all of the good work that you're doing and synthesize that for a 13-year-old brain. I'm going to put you at career day. You're in a school, and the kid in the back of the room wants to know what you do for a living. How do you answer him?
So I am a coach, which means that I am a high level mentor. And if you ever wanted to start a business or a ministry or a nonprofit, I would be the person to come to you to help you put that all together so that you could be successful. And so I'm doing that right now for 0 to 3 year Christian females who want to get into the marketplace.
So let's find out how we got here. What did you want to be when you were sitting at career day at school? What was your dream job?
Oh my gosh. I knew since sixth grade that I was called to be a nurse. And so my entire trajectory in life from sixth grade on was in that. And I did end up going through nursing school and proceeding up the nursing ladder all the way to nurse practitioner. So I had a long-standing nursing career that um, just just knew from a young age that that's what I wanted to do.
So clearly, caretaking, inspiring, it's a part of your DNA. Take me back to your beginnings. Are you originally from Virginia?
I am. I was born and raised in what's called Suffolk, Virginia.
Okay. Yeah. So let me ask you this. What were those early foundational building blocks, the seeds that were planted from family and friends and everybody around you that has evolved into your vision and work today?
Well, I am definitely a person of faith. I was raised up in a good, solid, nuclear Christian family. I love the community that we were surrounded with at that time. I had multiple parents growing up in that environment, so you weren't getting away with anything. But I also watched my dad, who was a cooking supervisor for Planters Peanuts, a little company you may have heard of, for 30 some years. And I watched my dad's integrity to get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock every morning to get in by 6. And then I watched the trust that he built with his employees and how loved he was over the years. And so my mom was a homemaker, and I saw her get up and just be proficient in keeping the home. And so my parents, although not corporate or white collar, were just hardworking people with a lot of integrity that just got up and did the best that they could every day. And I was very proud of them for the age that they grew up in to have saved and done so well for themselves. Um, and so it was just really, really ingrained, those qualities.
Did you ever get tired of peanuts?
Oh no. Because when his planners exploded and was then eventually bought out by Nabisco, my dad used to come home with a Christmas box every year. So we got all the goodies.
I would imagine so. Yeah. Horn of plenty. So, in your life as a Christian, we all have these spiritual moments. We all have these moments because being a human, there's a level of empiricism. I mean, in Missouri, we're in the show me state, but and you want to have some level of like fact behind spirituality. We're all seeking levels of it. Have you had those moments in your walk where you're like, all right, this all makes sense. I got a sign. Have you had that moment?
I've had the ultimate crossroads moment. And so, as I proceeded in my nursing career and was up toward the nurse practitioner stage in 2008, I had what I call a Job, like Job in the Bible moment, when my nursing career was completely swept out from underneath me because of some political things that were going on in the environment that I was working in. And I had absolutely no control over it. And then within a few months of that process starting, my father passed away. And then within about 5 months of that, my husband was diagnosed at 47 with prostate cancer. So I was living the life. And then all of a sudden, within about a 12-month period, I was in ashes. And I tell people this is when Christians either or people either lean in to grab faith or they walk away from it because they don't believe it works. And I chose in that moment to lean into my faith. And there's a whole story that unfolds after that.
And I think that's the thing that's strange about life because life happens to all of us. And for some reason, whenever God or however you want to deem your spiritual entity gets blamed. And I know there's because there's got to be bad, there's got to be good, there's got to be yin and yang, but it's always like the fault always falls on the father or the mother, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
that's just kind of the thing, but it seems like you're going to garner more strength leaning into what's giving you comfort in your entire life.
Absolutely. For me, it was definitely faith. And I'm one of those persons, if I'm in, I'm all in. And so I just decided, like, God, if you are who you say you are, I need to see it and I need to know it. And part of it is, as a person of faith, is how much are we leaning in and trying to have that relationship? So I was a good Christian girl going to church and I knew who Jesus was and all the good things, but I wasn't chasing it at that point. So once that kind of all unfolded, and I really feel like there was a particular moment that he really identified himself and things started to progress in a different way. And I've just had the privilege of seeing so much kind of unfold in front of me. I just know that I know that I know. And because I am someone who has been comforted in it, I am now in position to help comfort other people when they go through those situations.
So, who's been a consistent inspirational force in your life between nursing and the coaching and everything that you've done and become in your life? A hero. Who has that been for you?
I absolutely love John Maxwell, and I know a lot of people know that name. Probably one of the most inspirational pieces of that for me was a person of faith coming into coaching, wanting to align that, and then watching how well John does that and how effortlessly that is for him, and for people to love him, even if they don't see his faith views the same. I just love his influence. I love the way he can deliver, and that it's all wrapped into his values. And so he was a huge inspiration when I got into the coaching realm, and I just love him and his work.
So, if you could meet, you may have already answered this. If you could meet anybody alive right now, have a lunch with them, talk to them that might help you on your journey in coaching and beyond, who would you love to talk to?
Oh, wow, that's such a great question. Um, I would say probably, mm, wow, trying to think. Probably any of the women who have risen to the level of being influential around the nation and the world. There's not one particular in my mind right now, but I love watching women rise. And so I'm all about that. And so just being able to find that person that is a little bit ahead of me that I could lean into, which is part of the reason, by the way, that I got into coaching. I feel like there's a gap in female coaching in the level that I am coaching in. That would be the person I'd really most want to sit down with.
So, what was it about your life as a nurse that helped you gain this acumen to become a coach, that gave you that confidence to shift and get into this world?
Well, I think in nursing, you are definitely a nurturer. By
Yeah.
trade, most of us have that nature in us, but we also have a little bit of a teacher. because we have to educate our clients, but just the honesty and the trust and the intimacy that you have to share with someone when you're caring for them at the level of healthcare. And I think all of that was brought into my coaching. Um, Leadership is definitely a piece of it. You're always leading as a nurse, whether you're seen that way or not. And so, leading from the back, or servant leadership, as most people call it, probably the biggest factor that I've carried into my coaching career.
So, do you remember your first coaching client, or do you remember a seminal one that made you believe you made the right choice?
Absolutely. So I actually got my first coaching client during COVID. And I just started really reaching out and putting myself out there on social media, and thus so, because that's how we were all trying to get out there. And she was a lady in my area who'd kind of been looking for direction, also a faith-based person, really grabbed onto the fact that I mentioned filling God-sized dreams. And she just really felt like she had this calling from God. And at first it was to come in and do a a faith-based marriage coaching relationship. She wanted to help people who were struggling in their marriages. But along the way, as I coached her, God really kind of shifted her. She was actually doing real estate, and that can be such a, from a faith-based person's perspective, secular business. And she really wanted to add her values to that. And so once we kind of started working together, she came up with this brilliant idea and found the gap, which is what most of the ladies I work with do. They find a gap of where new real estate agents were really being put out into the market, not really showing the back end of the business. And she wanted to do it in a way that she could show them care and trust, build them up, and help them succeed in their walk as real estate agents. And so Michelle really set my world on fire, because when I see someone come in with a vague idea and then they lock in on it and then they're ready and motivated to move, that really inspires me. And so she was just definitely proof positive, and it's been my honor to walk alongside her all these years, become her friend, and watch her grow and just become the person that she is now.
So, being in the realm of coaching, you have to kind of get into the minds of your clients, and there can be a lot of murky waters. How do you protect yourself? How do you operate at a high level to change their lives and to also take care of your soul? What is that energy when that alarm clock goes off every day?
I think the biggest thing is just kind of setting those boundaries, kind of knowing who you actually are aligned to help, and realizing that you can't help everybody. Not everybody is your client. And so you really have to set those boundaries. And so for me, I'm a real high energy person when I am with people. And so I get a lot out of that, but make sure that I can stop at a certain point in the time, certain point of the day, and kind of refresh myself. Make sure that I'm leaning into my family and not allowing the coaching to kind of take over that realm. And just kind of like, you know, gearing up during the weekend for what's ahead for the next week. And so taking that downtime is very important, and guarding my schedule. And that's always a work in progress. And I've really learned over the years what's really necessary and what's not, and to politely excuse myself when it's not in line with what I need to be doing. And that's not um, pushing people aside. It's just realizing our capacity.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, ran into the 13-year-old version of you, and you had a big book in your hands, it was like a coffee table book, and it was the life that you've led, the life that you've orchestrated so far, and you showed it, would that young version of you believe that your life turned out this way?
Absolutely not. I was so shy around that age. I was so awkward in some things, and I've had the adventure now of just really being out in the public. I've been able to speak across the country when I was in nursing, and now traveling internationally I've traveled internationally to Nicaragua, and now really in the last several years to Kenya, and just the expanse of the work that God has given me. I would have never anticipated that back then, and I would have been like so wide-eyed.
Do you have any advice that you would give your younger self?
Oh, I would just say, girl, get out there and do it faster. Stop hiding. You
Yeah.
have something inside of you that the world is waiting for, and make sure that you let them know that you're there.
So, of everything that you've done, accomplished, and evolved to, what are you the proudest of?
I think I'm most proud that I went through a situation that would have sidelined a lot of people, and I took the pain and turned it into a passion, and that I've been able to multiply my influence and my impact in the world. Um, I, I I really feel for those who get into those situations and then feel like there's no way out. But there's so much more out here that is for you. And sometimes our past pains and hurts are meant to propel us. And so I'm proud that I was able to navigate that. I'm proud of the expanse of what I'm doing now and just so excited to get up every day and do it all over again.
So, I'm going to take it a step further. At the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, I do think I'm a pretty big-hearted person. I am sometimes someone who will run out fast and have to be pulled back in just a little bit. Thankfully, I have a great husband who's able to do that. But at the end of the day, I'm just somebody who really cares about people at a low level. And I just want to make the world a better place.
So she steps forward coaching. If anybody has questions, they want to hire you, they want to reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
She steps forward coaching.com, or they can schedule with me at meetcoachelaine.com.
Final question. You can get into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history. Where are you going? What would you love to see?
Oh my gosh. I'd really love to go back to Israel. And I know that sounds maybe morbid, but I would love to be in the place where he walked. And so that's where I would go.
I often wonder if we did in our brains, knowing the history and the influence, if we our brains could actually take it,
Hmm.
right?
It's massive. It's massive. I even now we still can't take it.
Yeah, right.
Still sit in it a lot, but yeah, I am so curious. And one of the if I had to go back in time and meet someone, I'd love to go back and meet Mary, the mother of Jesus.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know what was really in her mind when that angel spoke with her and all the things that she travailed during her life as she watched. So that would be definitely be one of my things.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to put these links in the show notes. Elaine, it was wonderful to meet you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your story. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You bet.